Lizzo calling it quits? Not exactly. The Grammy award-winning singer posted a lengthy message on her Instagram earlier last Friday that read in part, quote, "I'm getting tired of putting up with being dragged by everyone in my life and on the internet. All I want is to make music and make people happy and help the world be a little bit better than how I found it. But I'm starting to feel like the world doesn't want me in it. I didn't sign up for this S word. I quit."
But for all the Lizzo fans that might have been freaking out, she clarified Tuesday that she isn't quitting music. In a video posted on her TikTok Tuesday, she said she's not giving any negative energy attention, adding, quote, "What I'm not going to quit is the joy of my life, which is making music, which is connecting to people, because I know I'm not alone."
I want to make this video because I just need to clarify. When I say I quit, I mean I quit giving any negative energy attention. What I'm not going to quit is the joy of my life, which is making music, which is connecting to people, because I know I'm not alone. In no way, shape, or form am I the only person who is experiencing that negative voice that seems to be louder than the positive. If I can just give one person the inspiration or motivation to stand up for themselves and say they quit letting negative people win, negative comments win, then I've done even more than I could have hoped for. With that being said, I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep being me. Once again, I just want to say thank you. The love that I've received, means more than you know.
This isn't the first time speculation rose about Lizzo possibly leaving the music industry. Last year, she made her X account private, citing people's comments about her weight. So we've talked in the past about Lizzo controversies, these lawsuits being brought by former backup dancers of hers who said that she subjected them to a hostile work environment and overtly sexual work environment, that they were not forced to go on these kind of friendship bonding experiences at adult clubs, but that dancers who did go to them were given preferential dancing treatment, and that this was a sexually hostile thing to do, and also that she actually did some body shaming or weight shaming of some of the backup dancers, which is ironic given that she's known as this kind of positive body image figure.
It's very off-brand. I think it's very easy to imagine how, given how we frame coercive work environments in the gender context of it, how someone can not realize that it's not necessarily appropriate to make your employees feel like they have to go to an exotic club with you in Amsterdam. You might think it's a woo-woo fun girls trip, but just because the gender dynamics aren't what we would expect, male employer forcing female subordinates to go to a strip club, it doesn't mean that your employers are going to feel comfortable. That's easy to imagine. It is a little difficult to imagine her body shaming people, given that fat acceptance is such a huge part of her identity. And she had this, I think, an HBO show where she was trying out new backup dancers, all of whom were plus size. And it was honestly such a warm, loving, inclusive. I mean, she came off as such a delightful human being who really was invested in these relationships.
To make you think that.
Maybe it was all fake, but that part of it I do find to be difficult. But what's important to notice, to remember about this particular controversy is where it's rooted, how it started. And it started after she performed at this Joe Biden fundraiser last week. Apparently, the fundraiser was incredibly successful. It raised $25 million in New York. There were a number of other performers there, including Cynthia Erivo and I think some other Broadway stars. But Biden, as we're well aware, has been getting an incredible amount of flack for, in particular, his bear hug of Bibi as the siege on Gaza amounts this death toll, and especially now after these new attacks on the Jose Andres humanitarian crew. And so Lizzo's presence at this event for Biden, I think, was bound up in some of the left criticism of the event. The event featured a number of people who were protesting actively, heckling at Biden and such on the stage. And so it does perhaps feel to her like this is a kind of, she caught a stray, as they say, that this wasn't she's kind of in the crossfires here. But I think it's all of these artists have to ask themselves what they're associating themselves with. as they align themselves with Joe Biden, as he's getting really legitimate public criticism for his approach to the siege on Gaza.
Sure. You can always just stay out of politics as a famous person, as a singer or actor or whatever. You can just avoid weighing in at all.
Right.
Frankly, a lot of people, now, and some people, maybe more so in progressive circles, want their people they like to weigh in on politics and reflect their politics. I think it's an underrated strategy to just say, I don't know anything about this and it's none of my business.
I'm not saying stay out of it. I'm saying that if you're in it, you are going to not have as broad appeal. And I think there's something wonderful about realizing that you can be supported by a smaller cohort of truly aligned fans who are passionate about you, as opposed to being all things to everyone. And Lizzo has made that choice in other ways that she's chosen to present herself to the world. She knows that she wouldn't get all this flack if lost weight or didn't wear as revealing clothes, was more quiet and not as outspoken as she is kind of in her fat acceptance movement. But she has decided that that's something that's really meaningful to her and that she's going to live her truth. And I think that is admirable, whatever you think about the underlying decision. But this is not something that I know that she really stands by. The Israel-Gaza conflict is not something that I don't necessarily know that she's informed on. And so I think you have to do a little bit more research at a certain point when you're doing a gala like this, when you're doing a fundraising event like this for someone who is as controversial as Joe Biden has become. One other aspect, I think, of the pushback that this event generally got was how expensive the tickets were. So it wasn't just Lizzo. Ben Platt, Broadway, was there. Cynthia Erivo, Lea Michele, another from Glee, and also Broadway, Queen Latifah. And you could pay all this money to take pictures with people. Apparently, some tickets were $500,000. So again, it does feel a little bit like that Pete Buttigieg wine cave scenario, where all of these very rich and very famous people are aggregating together to celebrate Joe Biden and raise money for him.
Disliked, I would say, Lea Michele and Ben Platt.
Kind of.
Right?
I mean, no one likes
that
the
being
theater
too
kid.
mean to say that?
No one likes the theater kid. I will say.
What's that? What's the one that he was in? That is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Movie, not a show.
It was a movie musical. It's about Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh, dear.
That was a bad movie.
Well, mostly because they keep casting him as children, and he's like a 45-year-old man. Sorry, maybe he's not that old.
He seems they did his makeup in a way that he seems terrifying. Like they made him look 50 years older while trying to make him look younger. It's a creepy. There's some uncanny valley stuff going on.
A 31-year-old man, in his defense, so maybe the casting wasn't that off at the time.
That movie is horrifying.
Well,
anyway,
I take your bigger point that
I liked Glee. I have no problem with Lea Michele.
That a lot of these characters are controversial in and of themselves, but part of that controversy is because they are so kind of lib-coded. It evokes the scandal over Hillary Clinton's association with Hamilton and all of the get out the vote stuff that the Hamilton cast were doing for her back in 2016. There was a little bit of a revision of that recently. And in retrospect, it looks extremely corny, extremely out of touch, very much like Marie Antoinette enjoying her pastries while the city burns. And it is curious that they're still relying on what seems like an outdated mode of celebrity appeal that only is speaking to the people who already like Ben Platt.
Yeah, my favorite joke in Succession is when, there's so many good jokes, but Greg is at a right-wing conference and the character he always interacts with tells him, we're among conservatives now, you don't have to pretend you liked Hamilton.
All right, well, that's it for us today. Tomorrow on Rising, we'll be back with a lot more.
No, we won't. It's Friday.
Oh.
We will be gone.
We will be gone.
We will be off.
For
We'll be on
Rising,
vacation.
we'll be
on the beach sipping Mai Tais. No. We'll be preparing to deliver you an excellent show on Monday while the Friday team fills in.
That's right. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. For those of you who like to listen while you're on the go, we're now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
See you later.
Take care.